Okay, let's see how things working out here. Glasses moving. Hello everybody, this is TB at TB's Cabin. I've been studying on things for the last 25 years. I've been trying to get self-reliant. What is self-reliance to you and what's self-reliant to me might be two different things. Self-reliance, such as weaning off the ticks, is what I call it. I haven't wrote a book or anything. I'm not a book author or anything like that. But from what I'm seeing is, it looks like we're going to have to go backwards, some of us, you know, in time, such as buying property. You know, the homesteader up there on YouTube had some very good points about what do you want to be enslaved to. You know, you can buy a big fancy home on the hill and a big fancy car and all those things, and I ain't got nothing against people having them if they got the money to have it. But if you don't want that kind of debt hanging over you, if it's just saying this is for those who doesn't want that kind of debt. Let me see if I can fix this camera a little better on the adjustment there. Okay. For those of you who don't want a large debt hanging over you 30, 40 years, who would prefer to be free, not a debt, then all you really need to do is, as you save your money, go out and find you an acre of ground or even a lot for $1,000. You know, that's, you know, maybe 400 or 5 if you want to live way out. But you can get in a small town, you can probably get a lot for $1,000 or so like that, or maybe 2 lots. But if you want enough room to grow a garden and grow your eats a year, I would suggest getting about an acre. You know, where you can fatten you out some chickens and some rabbits and stuff outside the city limits, where you got just outside the city limits if you don't want to live way out, to where you got a place to grow stuff. As for your house, there's several ways to get land. Excuse me. One of the ways is tax title. That's a good economical way to find you a place. Go to your local courthouse where you think you might want to live, and have them show you some tax title property that's on the document, and you can pay the tax title back taxes on that tax title property. And then if no one redeems that, the second year you get a quiet title on it, which is a quick claim deed, basically, is what you'll get on it. Well, that's legal enough to hold it. Then, once you have that, you can put your house on it if it don't have a house, but generally they come with a house on it of some kind. It may not be nothing but an old shack, but fixed up an old shack can make a nice dry shelter. A home that would be cheaper for you to fix up as you go along as to go out and pay $25,000 or $30,000 out of your pocket if you got a job to handle this. That's assuming that you got some type of income coming in and that you're physically able to work. Okay, with that being said, now what I did here, this was my grandfather's homestead. I got lucky. And my mother inherited part of it, and her brothers inherited part of the land. And we bought their shares out, is what we done. We got $9,000 tied up in the place when we bought the place. Now, of course, we had to do some other things to it, you know, fixing up of the place and so forth. But most of the stuff I got was cheap. When I moved back over here and got the place put in my name, because the rest of the family didn't want to pay the taxes on it no way or fool with it. But when I got it back in my name, the property, I went ahead and fixed up my grandfather's shop next to my mom. She lives in her mom and daddy's homestead, the old homestead's main house. But I built me a cabin out here, and that's why I call it TB's Cabin. Well, it was my grandfather's upholstery shop's what it was. And I got about 800 square foot of house. It's just a little 2-bedroom. It's got a little hall and a bathroom. Bathroom's pretty good size. Kitchen's super size because I had a store here for a while in it. I run a store out of the front of it selling homemade beef jerky for 9 years. But that's another subject. Now I'm retired and disabled, but I've got probably tied up in this property. I would say I haven't got more than 12,000 tied up in it, something like that, in this whole place. But that's the both houses. That's the two large lots that my grandpa and grandma had. And as for my siding later on, see, I put that old, I think it was 3/8 thick siding board on my shop out here when I boxed in the carport to make a kitchen and store area out of it. You know, and the rest of it, the house is just 2 bedrooms, which this is the office. I'm using one of the bedrooms for my office because I live alone now, so I don't need 2 bedrooms. But anyway, with this place, I went, and my sister had a friend tearing down a daycare center, and I wound up getting, about 4,000 pounds of siding, vinyl siding, give to me, used vinyl siding. Okay, now, granted, it's got some algae on it and stuff, and it didn't look real pretty to start with, but it will work, and you can reuse that. And I got the windows, too, to go with it to boot, storm windows, because it was an Indian daycare center, and the Indians was redoing a Choctaw daycare center up there near where she lives, just across the line there in Oklahoma from the Osho thereabouts. Well, she asked them what they was going to do with the siding, the doors, and the windows, and all that stuff, and they said, "Go haul it to dump." So she asked them if they could have it, and they said, "Yeah, you can have it." And fortunately, the people, she knew them well, and they let her take the trailer, and they hooked onto the trailer, and they brought all that stuff down here about 2-3 summers ago. And I had never put siding on, but I had put windows in and roofing and stuff like that I knew how to do. Well, needless to say, I called my uncle. He's been a contractor now for 15-20 years at putting siding and stuff on in Tulsa, and he come down and he taught me how to put that siding on. And it's not that hard, but you do got to give it enough room. You don't tighten them tacks plumb down tight, one thing, and you cut your corners so the water will run away from your window and run down on the ground. There's a trick to all that, to putting that siding on. Now, I got about 12,000, well, I figured I saved about $12,000 in windows and in siding when that was given to me. Now, that's just how the Lord works sometimes, and me and Mom both on disability, we needed it bad. Now, to clean up the siding is nothing. All you got to do is go buy some bleach from your local dollar store or Walmart's, or anywhere that you can get it cheap. You know, it ain't cheap anymore. I think it's $2 or $3 a gallon. But anyhow, you take that bleach and you put it in a sprayer and mix it up. Pump up the sprayer. Spray it on the green algae or dirty, moldy areas, black on the side of your house. And then you let it sit there 15-20 minutes. Come along with your garden hose and just wash it off. It'll clean right off. It may take 2 or 3 applications, but then you'll have the prettiest white. It'll brighten back up to the whitest siding you had to start with if it's white vinyl siding. And that's mainly what they use on that vinyl siding. That's the cheapest way to clean it. They may have other cleansers, but I'm saying your bleach is the way to clean that up. Now then that I've said that, that's just a little tip on taking care of the house. But as for land, again, I say again, if you don't want a 30 or 40 year mortgage, but yet you want a home, you may have to start out with a smaller home, or build you a smaller house, and then you build it so you can add on to it. Just like the homesteader did with his little cabin. That's neat. His daddy, I believe he said, left him the land, but he had to buy his cabin and put it together. There's nothing free. There's no free ride out there, but what he's showing you is you can take your money and stay out of debt and have a nice home and yet not be tied up to those debts or those ticks, as I call them, that we add to ourselves, is what we do. Needing things, sure, but electric is one of them tyrants that they can charge you any amount they want, no matter what you burn. So the solar system, the wind chargers, and the backup generators are the best way to go. In my opinion, you have to look in your area and see which works better, solar panels or wind chargers or both. You may want to go with both like he did.